Hello, my name is Joshua Camp, and I am an astrologer here in Newport, Oregon. And I'm just here to give you a quick little update about the astrology this week. It's a pretty interesting week with lots of stuff going on, so let's get into it. First, on Monday, we kind of have a really interesting configuration. Retrograde in Scorpio and conjoins Venus right there in Scorpio. So both of these planets are not in great condition. And they're kind of tied into this larger narrative that's going on with this big water trine between Jupiter and Saturn. To me, it just kind of looks like, we're having this zeitgeist about things coming back from the past, dark secrets revealed, and all of that stuff. And with Mercury and Venus together in Scorpio, it's kind of these themes of, secrets, like the deep down hidden things that are going to maybe get triggered or shaken up and dragged out into the light configuration. It's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens in the world news on Monday. Also, because, there's not quite, but pretty close. Venus and Mercury are opposite Uranus in Taurus. So that is really a trigger for crazy, unexpected events that come out of nowhere. The Tower card in tarot where there has been some tension building and then suddenly it snaps and anything that is not authentic or, done with good intentions is kind of blown up. Tuesday, I'm kind of happy because I've always been watching each month, the moon comes around in its monthly cycle and hits Pluto at 1 degree of Aquarius. So this is kind of a time that I watch out for as far as my mood or my reactions to things. The moon represents emotional states and Pluto represents, very heavy, very deep parts of your psyche that are kind of dark and scary, anxiety triggering, or it can be positive, but usually it's, not that fun to go through. That's happening Tuesday morning, so around 5 a.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern. The moon is going to cross over Pluto, and then hopefully for the rest of the day, it'll kind of, slowly wind down from that kind of critical conjunction. Wednesday looks okay. I don't expect any crazy stuff to happen on Wednesday. The Mercury retrograde is still going on and it's winding down. Thursday, we have a pretty cool T-square, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about the Scorpio theme, being opposite Uranus, which is the trigger for sudden snaps and explosions. So there could be something triggered on Thursday when the moon comes back around and touches these two things again. And then Friday is nice. The moon enters Pisces, Saturn is stationing, and that's, another big marker for big world events happening. Saturn retrograde lasts a pretty long time and is a very slow-moving planet, so whenever it stations, it comes to a halt very slowly and kind of grinds down on 1 degree of the zodiac. And this is whenever the Saturn themes can really get amplified in that very specific part of a chart. So if you have stuff going on right there towards the end of Pisces, 25 degrees Pisces or so, you could definitely be feeling this as far as the Saturnian heaviness or feeling blocked, feeling weighed down. But the good news is Mercury is stationing direct the next day, so the Mercury retrograde will be over. Yay! The moon will conjoin Saturn on Saturday morning. This is another one of those heavy parts of the month to watch out for whenever the moon crosses over Saturn. Later that day, the moon conjoins Neptune. It's at 3 p.m. Pacific. This is kind of a really cool thing that I've been watching as long as Neptune has been in Pisces, because it kind of amplifies this very ethereal breaking down of boundaries and kind of feeling connected to everyone and everything around you. I keep noticing, every time this happens, I'm either in a big group of people where the vibe is very communal and people are just connecting, or watching music together, really experiencing oneness, experiencing at oneness with each other. So Saturday afternoon, if you are around other people, you might feel this communal feeling, or it might be You might need to put up some extra boundaries if you're going to be around some people that you know are going to drain your energy a little bit, because that Neptunian Piscean influence is going to be, it kind of has the high potential of removing barriers and boundaries between you and other things. So that's something to be aware of. And then we end the week with Venus entering Sagittarius. She is no longer in the sign of detriment in Scorpio, which can be a very dark place, but also very kinky and very kind of freaky. So it is a good week to, maybe experience things sexually, especially because, the Uranian freak influence is touching Venus at this time. So I will say that one thing that is happening all week is, and for a pretty long time, actually. We've had very little Earth going on for a long time. Mostly the only Earth is Uranus and Taurus, which is not a grounding influence. And, the moon comes around to Earth signs every week. So remember that staying grounded right now is going to take some extra effort, and you're really going to have to deal with emotions with a grain of salt. Take some time before you react to things. Mercury is still retrograde this week, like I said, so avoid anything that is too rash that you might regret later, because once Mercury goes direct, things are going to look a whole lot different next week. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Mwah.